Hey everyone, welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm Ivy.
And I'm Alice. Thanks for joining us today. If you're listening to this right now, there is a very high chance you have a hot mug or an iced glass right next to you.
Absolutely. I'm actually holding my favorite latte right now. You know, Alice, I was thinking this morning, coffee is funny. It's just a drink made from roasted beans and water, right? But for millions of people, it's the most important ritual of the day. If I miss my morning cup, my whole day feels out of sync. Like I'm running late, even if I'm on time.
I completely agree. It's a total game changer for the morning. But have you ever noticed how we drink it changes depending on where we are? For example, here, many people grab a massive travel mug of filtered coffee and drink it while driving to work or sitting on the train. We treat it like fuel.
Yes, it's all about efficiency. But in other parts of the world, if you ask for a coffee to go, people might look at you like you're crazy.
Exactly. Let's look at Italy, which many people consider the spiritual home of modern coffee culture. In Italy, coffee is a social break, but it's a quick one. You walk into a local bar, which is what they call a cafe, say hello to the barista, and order an espresso.
And you don't sit down, right?
Right. You drink it standing up at the counter. It takes about 2 minutes. You chat with the barista, down the espresso, and leave. And there's a huge unspoken rule there. You never, ever order a cappuccino after 11 a.m.
Oh, yes. I remember a friend of mine ordered a cappuccino at 4 p.m. in Rome, and the waiter looked so confused. Why is that?
Well, Italians believe that warm, heavy milk is bad for digestion after a meal. Milk is strictly for breakfast. So if you need a coffee in the afternoon, you stick to a simple espresso or a macchiato, which is just an espresso with a tiny splash of milk. That's fascinating. So it's not just a preference, it's practically a health rule. Now, if you want the exact opposite of that fast paced Italian style, you have to look at Northern Europe. Let's talk about Sweden and their concept of fika. Oh, I love fika. It's spelled Fika, right?
Yes, it's often translated as a coffee and cake break, but it's way deeper than that. Fika is a verb and a noun. It means slowing down. In Swedish offices, it's mandatory, meaning you must do it. To take a fika break with your colleagues twice a day, you put down your phone, step away from your computer, eat a cinnamon bun, and just talk.
That sounds incredible for stress levels. It shows that coffee isn't just about caffeine there. It's a tool to build community and friendships.
Exactly. Now, let's look at how the actual quality of coffee has changed. Have you heard people talk about the third wave of coffee?
I have, but honestly, Ivy, it sounds a bit fancy. What does it actually mean?
It's simpler than it sounds. Think of the first wave as supermarket coffee. Traditional instant coffee or ground coffee in tins that you keep in the cupboard for months. The second wave was the rise of big chains like Starbucks in the 1990s, making lattes and frappuccinos popular globally.
Okay, so what's the third wave?
The third wave treats coffee like fine wine. People care about the origin of the beans. Like, was it grown on a small farm in Ethiopia or Colombia? They care about the roasting process.
Looking at the roast makes sense. Light roasts keep more of the original fruity flavors of the bean, while dark roasts give you that classic, bitter, smoky taste.
Exactly. And third wave shops also care about the type of milk and the precise ratio. For instance, do you actually know the difference between a latte and a flat white? Because they look almost identical on the counter.
I always get those confused. Aren't they both just espresso and milk?
They are, but the secret is in the milk texture and the amount. As you can see, a latte uses more milk and has a thicker layer of foam on top, making it milder. A flat white, which comes from Australia and New Zealand, uses less milk and a special microfoam that is incredibly smooth. It gives you a much stronger coffee flavor.
Wow. So a flat white is perfect if you want to actually taste the espresso without it being drowned in milk. I'll have to order that next time. While modern cafes focus a lot on technology and precise ratios, Some of the oldest coffee cultures focus entirely on hospitality. Take the Ethiopian coffee ceremony, for example. Ethiopia is where coffee was originally discovered. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. How does the ceremony work? It can take up to a few hours. The host washes green coffee beans, roasts them in a pan right in front of the guests, grinds them with a mortar and pestle, and boils the coffee in a traditional clay pot called a jabena.
Hours? That sounds like a major time investment.
It is, but it's a sign of ultimate respect for your guests. You sit together, the room fills with the smell of roasting beans and incense, and you drink 3 rounds of coffee while sharing neighborhood news. It reminds us that before coffee was an industry, it was a way to welcome a stranger.
That is beautiful. It really shows that coffee is all about connection. Now, before we finish today's episode,
let's take a quick look at a few useful words and expressions we use today.
Yes, this is our vocabulary spotlight.
First up, we used the idiom out of sync. This means feeling unbalanced or when things are not working well together. For example, because I stayed up late last night, my whole schedule feels out of sync today.
Next, we use the phrase game changer. This refers to a completely new element or event that changes a situation for the better. An example would be, buying a proper espresso machine for my kitchen was a total game changer for my morning routine.
Then we mentioned the phrasal verb to down a drink. This means to drink something very quickly, often in one go. For instance, he was so thirsty after his run that he downed a whole bottle of water in seconds.
We also use the adjective mandatory. This means something is required by a law or a rule. It is not optional. For example, wearing a helmet while riding a scooter is mandatory in this city.
And finally, we talked about the origin of coffee beans. Origin means the place where something begins or comes from. Example sentence, the barista explained that the origin of this specific coffee bean is a small volcanic farm in Guatemala.
Hopefully those words are a helpful addition to your vocabulary bank. Well, Ivy, my mug is officially empty, which means it's time to wrap things up.
Thank you so much for listening to the Daily Grind today. We want to hear from you. What does your morning coffee routine look like? Are you a quick espresso person or a slow down and chat person? Leave a comment on our page.